You know the program. 2-3 hours of sleep at night, hopefully a nap or two, and get ready for the next day.
That's right, man.
I'll see you guys out there in a bit.
All right, sounds good. About to see you. I'm just talking to my buddy Jason Hammond there, and yeah, I'll tell you what, that's one thing I don't think people maybe understand, you know, when it comes to the guiding, the hours that it takes to do it right they're endless hours. You know, even though you might just fish for 8 hours, the amount of time that it takes to prep your boat, your gear for the following day to make sure everything's as ready as possible when you get down here is another 3 hours, no problem, every day. And then you got to make sure the ice is ready. You got to make sure everything, and so it does. And until you get here and sit in the boat, then Jonesy doesn't know there's a log on that. But I was saying, guys, it's endless hours, you know, and sometimes just being in the boat and your time fishing is your actual break. So, you know, a lot of guys got families when they got home. So just be mindful of that, you know, when you do a guided trip, and just understand the amount of hours that go into it. Just have an appreciation for it. But anyways, we're gonna hit the Willamette today because coaching football, we can't do the ocean. I don't got the time, but we are gonna hit this Willamette today. We're gonna go over a couple different things. We're gonna go over our troll speed, the importance of troll speed, the importance of the weight that you select and the differences between the weights and how that influences the action of the Pro Troll, and also bumper length and how that relates to action when you're talking about taking different things into consideration, like your rod length, your speed, your weight. All that working together is what's going to create that perfect thump to make them bite, and that perfect thump is different every time. So stay tuned.
What's up, guys?
Just want to show up later so everybody can watch you do your thing, don't you?
No, I thought we were playing today, but... Hello, world. Good morning, everybody. I gotta put pants on today. Look at this view. Isn't this the greatest? Professional lingo right there. I love when people go, "What's your leader length?" I'm like, I don't know, something in here. Like, I remember when I measured about 20 years ago. Now I don't. Throw some stuff out there and hope for the best.
I think, you know, the older you get, you find the more measurements you take, the more disappointed you are.
Yeah.
So you just stop measuring everything.
Well, you know, some people get really into it. They get really specific on it. It's got to be 27.5 inches. You're like,
Yeah, well, today I brought 3 different bumper lengths. I brought our 18s, our 24s, and our 30s because I want to kind of put that to the test to kind of check it out. Yeah, try some different stuff out, right? And just kind of see how all the rods bump different and all that good stuff. So
I got one more theory.
Go.
And I'm just going to throw this out there because I've tried it. You know, we try different blades.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if you
put all
took
the same blade.
6 of the same blade, and then you thump them. If you don't get bit on that, change all 6 to a different blade and go through it instead of like 1s and 2s, you know, because it seems like when I get done with the day and I go, I fished 6 of the same blade, I'm like, wow, that day was really good.
I agree with you. I've totally thought about that, and I think where we would have the advantage is we know what should work in which fisheries at what time. So like right now, you know, either a Gold Max hat or a Coast Guard painted back blade. I feel like or copper end, you could go in on all of those right now. You know, you can go all in.
Yeah, all in,
and then for a period of time, be good to go.
Yep.
All right, get that thing, Steve. Get that thing.
You got him.
would. He's the keeper model.
Bit right now. I'm getting bit.
Get yourself bit.
Another one. I'm getting bit on the nut. I'm just holding on to it. Yeah.
That's on big Jack. Which one? That one's the old.
Where's that net guy at? He ain't ready yet.
Jack, you want to lift up on there? If you can find a tuna, you can find a salmon, Jack. I don't want to hear anything.
Find him. I just told you where he is.
Jack, I'm going to get him between you and the motor. That's my happy spot.
And then I'm gonna
Lift up high, Jack. Lift up high, Jack.
in the middle of it.
Out away from the boat, Jack. Away from the boat. Yeah, real down, real down. Alright, look straight up. Away from the boat. There you're gonna get him. Alright, lift up high, Jack.
That's another good one. Nice job.
Yes, sir.
You got him, Dads.
You circumcised?
You circumcised.
Yeah, he's the old pussy. We're gonna put these on the deck by each other. We got two flopping. We got two flopping.
Fishing. Get to work.
Check this out. Oh, God, they're just that one. Hey, look at this. So both of them are the. Oh, that's a custom. Sorry, guys, you don't get that one. We got the old neck smash on that one, man. That's the way Bryan Jones operates, man. That was awesome.
I'm sitting here out of gear, watching you reel that fish in. I'm out of gear, my line's straight up and down, and I reel in like this to get it out of the leg. I go, what the? And it starts sucking at it. It ate it just hanging there. That was awesome, dude. That was so great.
Where's your fish smasher? Right here.
I bet you that thing was 10 feet down there and it just goes, I'm like, AJ, but then that fish was on. I was like, sorry, you couldn't film that. That was cool. That was so fun.
Man, that was cool, guys. That was really cool. Bow rod.
Quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, bow rod went off, and then we're getting stuff out of the way, and Jonesy's back there holding the rod vertically with the Pro Troll, and that thing started getting yanked on. He's like, oh, I'm getting bit. Hey, guys, this is 100%. I just ran my hand down through there. There's a little kink in there. And sometimes that little kink happened from the net or who knows where, but you gotta replace these leaders, man. You just have to. You run it again, you're gonna not only lose your fish, but you're gonna lose your fish getter. So make sure you redo your leaders every time. Awesome. Good job, Jonesy.
But that was so fun and crazy. I can't believe that just happened. The hardest part is, you know how we always go, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And I had to keep telling myself that. It's easier to tell someone than it is to, you know, I didn't want to set the hook.
Bassmaster.
Oh man, it's
Sweet. Check this out, guys. So this was the Nushnaut that got bit, okay? So that's ours. So when they tighten down, you will see kind of like a little bit of a crook in there. What I always do is I just take it and I wrap it around the shank like a half twist, and then it's good to go again, okay? If you're paranoid about your hooks being in line, that's the way I do it, and I am. And so anyways, but check this leader. This one's good to go. Jonesy, that's that back rod. Cool. That's the we'll call that the ghost rod that just gets bit when it's up in the middle of nowhere.
one, especially on these fish.
Sweet. I love the chaos. I love the chaos. Okay, let's get these suckers bled. Right there. For those of you wondering that length, it is from my strap on my bibs to the end of my arm. That's the length on that. I don't know how long that is, but that's what it is. And those were, that bow rod, that was a bite. That was not a tap. That was a bite.
He was super hungry and super angry.
He had that top
Like
hook.
I feel like it stems from like his childhood, like it's something we need to talk.
So Jack just asked a good question. So we got two springers in there, and he's like, why do they smell so strong? Are they like less quality fish? you know, they don't smell like a tule, but you smell salmon. It's not as fresh as it was a month ago, right? And what it is when the water starts to warm up, the salmon's first line of defense is from the outside on their scales. And so when it does that, they have their scales and it almost creates this slime on the outside of them. And that's that smell. So they're creating that protective barrier to live in here all summer long. And that's why I tell people, when you fillet your fish, especially these ones that have been in fresh water for a little bit, I always take the skin off, because if you vacuum pack that with the skin on, that same exact odor and slime is now in your vacuum packed fillet, and that'll slowly, I would say, marinate the entire fillet with that smell. So it won't taste like it per se, but when you open that bag, it'll definitely smell like it. And then every bite, I feel like, has that aroma to it, right? And so I always take that skin off, take the skin off, especially in this fishery here. Again, good quality fish, but you gotta get that slime off there, and the only way to get that slime off there is take the skin off. So guys, these right here are 8K spinners. We use these for coho fishing and a lot of tidewater fishing for Chinook as well, but coho, especially in the ocean, these things are awesome. So getting ready again, still getting Jones ready for buoy 10. Like I said last time, getting ready for buoy 10 is like, it's a chore in all itself, man. Like, you think you got everything, and I thought I brought Jones everything he needed last time. The last time I forgot the swivels, so I had to bring him more swivels, because that's a big deal out there. And then I'm like, wait a second, I don't think he has any 8K spinners, so I brought up some 8K spinners as well. But anyways, that's not the point of what we were going to jump into here. We're going to jump into the different bumpers that we manufacture, and just kind of the differences, other than the obvious being the length, and why we manufacture different lengths. So let's jump into that. Right on, guys. So hey, a few of the questions we get pretty consistently are, how fast do you troll, how much lead do you use, and what length bumper do you use? And all very valid questions, great questions. There's not a consistent answer though, because there's different variables. There's nature variables that are taking place. So when you're talking about 360 fishing, those variables consist of the following things, right? And when I say consist of the following things, that's to make everything operate. We want the Pro Troll the rotating 360 at a nice heavy pace to generate a bite. And so one of the things to consider is your boat and or water speed. Okay, so the amount of water passing underneath your boat is important. The reason that's important, obviously, the faster water, the more of a natural kick you're going to have against that. So when people ask us, how fast are you going? Well, in the Willamette, where it's frog water, we could be going 2.2 to 2.6 miles an hour. You know, it's kind of where we want to be. But say you get it on an outgoing tide or an incoming tide, and even going with an outgoing tide in Astoria, there's sometimes we're clicking like 4 miles an hour is kind of the magic number. Like if we're 4 and under, we know we're going to get bit, you know. But if you're holding against it, well, you're not traveling anywhere, but the water speed could be, heck, that water speed could be up to 5 miles an hour when we're holding against it on those heavy incoming tides, you know. So that speed is there's always a variable, but some of it controllable by the boat, other not controllable when you have current, depending in the location you're fishing in. Okay, now this is where weight plays a factor with those different variables. When we have a calm water fishery like this Willamette, Drano Lake, whatever it is, we have a lot more control over the depth of our presentation because of the lack of flow and the control that we have over speed, right? So with that, for me personally, I don't ever use under 12 ounces anymore. You, Jones?
No.
No, it's either 12, 16s, or 20s. That's what we're thumping on consistently. In this Willamette River, we got 12s. We'll do 16s up on the bows. I know guys run 14s these days. I've never got my hands on 14s, but I know guys use them. I'm sure they work just fine because the 12s and the 16s work, so I want the 14s work here. But one thing to consider, this is a big consideration, and this is the important part of the weight. And we've all seen this. We have all seen this. When you reel your gear in, So therefore, when you're generating speed, what happens is this Pro Troll is rotating, or 360 is rotating. You'll see your weight also rotate through the water, right? Because there's a certain amount of energy created by this 360. So the heavier flow you have, or more speed you have, more of a whip, more energy, it's going to start manipulating this weight. You don't want this weight manipulated. The more you see this, the less action you have here. So what we do is we increase our weight here, create an anchor point, and then all of the energy takes place into that 360 and transfers down to your lure. So that's the importance of the weight. The heavier or faster speed or heavier current, you want heavier lead to make sure, again, you have that nice anchor point and you have all the energy back here, so they're not counteracting each other. Okay, so pay attention to that when you're reeling it in. Do you have your weight and Pro Troll doing this, or do you have your weight doing more of this and this more of this, right? That's what we're looking for in the weight. The second is the bumper, or excuse me, the third is the bumper length. The bumper length is something that we mess with pretty consistently, and hands down, the most popular bumper length in this salmon fishery is 24 inches. I bet you we sell that 5 to 1. We sell 24 inches over 18. That being said, I use all 18s. I always have. That's all I've ever used. I really do think the length of the rod at that point starts making a difference, right? So you have a 10.5 foot rod. A 10.5 foot rod with an 18-inch bumper should thump at the same tempo as a 9.5 foot rod with a 24-inch bumper, right? Because the overall, what's creating that reaction in that Pro Troll is the backbone of the rod. So where is that backbone in the rod in relationship to your bumper length? Okay, 18 and 24 are two of the most consistent, and we have ours with the red bead is your 18, and then we have 24 with the chartreuse bead, just to be able to identify them once they're out of the package. And this year we went to a 30-inch bumper, and we didn't necessarily do it for the Chinook fishery. We did it for that sockeye fishery up in Brewster. Like 30 is that perfect bumper length, and we did that in 60 pounds, so a little bit lighter leader, whereas these two here, the 24 and the 18, are an 80 pound. They all have stainless steel Mighty Mini swivels on there, so good terminal tackle that's just going to last a long time. Jones could attest to that. He leaves his stuff on for way too long. But anyways, I am today, we've already got a couple fish, so it's really hard for me to move away for those 24-inch bumpers. And Jones is fishing 10-foot rods from Talon, okay? So that 10-foot rod with the 24-inch bumper is obviously performing very, very well. And then the last video, I think same thing, right? I mean, same exact setup. But today, on one of those 10-footers, we're going to throw one of these 30-inchers on there. And what you're going to notice, that one rod is just going to go a little bit slower because it takes longer to rotate. Okay, you got to be mindful of it, because you might have to pick the boat speed up a little bit to make sure that one is thumping. Whereas with the 18s, you don't have to drive as fast because that's more compact, and that water speed gets into that Pro Troll a little bit faster as well. So those are things to be mindful of, right? There's not a magic number of speed, there's not a magic number of weight, there's not a magic number of bumper length. There's so many different variables. We fish in so many different locations, so many different water applications, tide applications, even on the day. On the day, we're out at the coast, we're dealing with 4 or 5, three different speeds that we got to deal with, pretty consistently. But hands down, our 24 is the most popular. Check those out, guys. But we're gonna throw a 30-incher on this one. This one hasn't been bit today, right? Nope. I'm gonna throw a 30-incher on here and see what happens, guys. All right, guys, so this is that 18-inch bumper. We're gonna put this one in the water. We're gonna do comparisons, so watch that rod thump on this 18. I'm put him at the same depth. Jones is gonna keep his same speed that he's trolling at right now. Okay, I'm gonna put these at 25. Look how fast that sucker's clicking right there. That's that 18-incher. We just clipped our 24 on there, 24-incher. Again, our 18 and our 24 have a 80-pound mono on there. But look at that speed difference in that rod tip. Same exact weight, same exact speed, but look at that thump and the change that we have in it. Check it out. Okay, And our last one here is our 30-incher. And again, this 30-incher is new to the, new for us, I should say, new for a lot of people in the 360 world. But out at that sockeye fishery there in Brewster, 30 inches is the ticket, you know. So, and this is a little bit lighter mono. This is now that 60 pound opposed to the 80 pound. Let's check this one. That 30 for kokanee also?
That's what I use.
What do you think? Should we leave her out there?
I like it. I think it looks great.
Let's leave the 30 out there. I will say, I have seen, one thing without a doubt that I have seen is I have taken my entire boat and ran like a 24-inch leader and then just put 118 out the back that's a little bit more frantic than everything else going on, and I will find that that rod on certain days will be like, that's the one they want, is that more frantic one where everything else is in a perfect pattern. That one's just freaking out, and it definitely does make a difference sometimes. So anyways, guys, those are the different 360 bumpers that we manufacture here at VIP Outdoors. Tinker with them, find what works for you, you know. Don't be easily persuaded and it has to be this length, it has to be that length, it has to be, you know, again, find what works with you for you consistently and stick with that. So anyways, guys, hope that helps. All right, guys, so talking about our bumper length, right? And we got 24s on everything. We did put that 130 out on everything, and Jones made a very good point of what if there's one that is just acting much more aggressive than the rest of them, right? And so the way we do that is by going with an 18-incher. So we're putting this back corner here with an 18-inch bumper and letting it whip. And it is, I mean, you can tell it's already thumping a lot harder than it was before. And we have seen that. Like, I think of different fisheries like tuna, I think about striped bass, think about A-rigs, umbrella rigs. They're always biting that last one that's freaking out, you know what I mean? That one that's the weakest. That's the weakest fish, right? So we'll see if that turns it on. The bite definitely did slow down though. We just saw one just a second ago, but hopefully this turns her back on, and we'll see if it makes a difference. And the way to really tell is by trying it, right? Try it. Give her some gas. Give her some gas. You want rock, paper, scissors? Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Take it.
No, you get it.
No, I don't like it.
Hey, remember when that was at 45 feet deep?
Yeah.
Remember when I was like, hey, put it at 45? Oh, dude, he's ripping. You think we let him yank on it long enough?
I don't know. You're the professional angler.
I am not. Ooh, I'm interested to see what we hook this one to.
My favorite's when you jump it, you can't guide shit.
I'm gonna stick it right on your fucking head. I'm gonna try to get you to lose this fish. Some people like to catch them. I like to try to knock them off.
Dude, this thing got some
shoulders.
It's got. This might be an albacore.
I'm gonna stab him right in the head and knock it off the hook. Take it. His nav work out.
Yeah, that's it.
Ooh, buddy. See what he does.
That's a hot fish.
That is.
Maybe I did. A little bit energetic.
Here's the real surprise. We all changed spinners on it so much, I don't even know what's on that thing.
I know what's on this.
Of course. Wow, nice fish. I haven't seen him yet, but he's got something to pull on.
Definitely from Eastern Oregon.
Oregon fish. He's got an attitude problem. It's because you're driving away from him.
I know. I'm trying to lose it for you.
That's a summer, dude. That's a summer, Jonesy.
I like that.
Oh my God, you guys are chunker.
The old crimson. Oh my God.
That's a clipper.
Oh my God, dude, that is a stud.
Big old summer. It's a keeper. We'll bring him in.
Oh my goodness, dude. Look at that. It's summerfish. Look how bright that thing is.
Summer nooker, dude.
Oh, I'm gonna catch 19 more fish with that leader though.
No, you're not. I literally gave him
save
a whole spool of leaders, like different sizes, and he wants you
Wow,
the
this is
same
a
one.
beautiful fish.
Look at that sucker.
He is a freaking
That's a summer fish. Good job, Jonesy.
No,
good job,
that's
Steve.
Papa.
Way to drive the boat straight.
I know, now you're gonna want me to drive the boat all day long.
Get back on it.
Smash him in the head, Jack, before you get that out of his mouth.
That is truly a gorgeous fish right there. I mean, we love them all, but that is special.
Yeah.
That is great.
That was the old crimson.
Wow.
No, dude, this is a Willamette fish. That's not a summer.
No, it is.
That's a Willamette fish.
But that's a chonker.
That's a beauty fish.
Oh man, look how fat that thing is.
Yeah, dude, that thing had some yank on him.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful. Awesome fight, Joe.
Here like this.
Yeah, let's go hang out up here a little bit.
Way back.
The old 3.5 Crimson, man.
Send it.
That's one of our first season ones that have always been around.
Look at that. Got a nice little scrape on it now.
How long do you think you've had that blade, Jonesy?
I've probably had that blade for at least probably 5 years. Yeah, that's an OG.
That's an OG, yeah. Man, good fish.
God, that's a
Beautiful fish right there. Like, this is what the average springer should look like right here. You know what I mean? And then a big one should be that next level up.
Boy, that is a thick shouldered fish right there. You don't see that one as often as I wish.
As we do in the fall, right? Right on, guys, that wraps up our salmon fishing with Bryan Jones from Takedown Guide Service on the Willamette River here. And remember, today we were talking about our different bumper lengths and different weights, different speeds, and how that all plays a role in your overall 360 presentation. So do me a favor, down in the comments, comment with your favorite length of bumper down there, and if you have any questions. But don't forget to push that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.